The key in real estate when you're starting out is to always figure out who should I be getting in front of in order to facilitate more transactions. Now, when you say that, it sounds cliche, like, well, no kidding. I know I need to get in front of people to close more transactions. But the people that you need to get in front of are actually closer than you think. And for what we try to do and how fast we want to get to the next level of our career, there are strategies in order to get in front of more people so you can transact at a higher level. You know, a lot of agents think, I don't have many prospects right now, I need to go buy leads. And that is not the answer, especially when you're working with a limited budget. Because the problem when you go to the lead spend game, it has nothing to do with spending money on leads. It has to do with, do you have the appropriate system to manage those leads? If you're going to buy leads, you have to make sure that you have systems in place and people to call those leads. And if it's you calling those leads, at some point you get buried. So taking a lead in, the follow-up cadence, then touring while leads are still coming in, at some point that breaks. And so what I always recommend is before you get into the lead buy game, make sure that you get into the I have a dialer game. Because a human being on the phone can always produce many opportunities for you while you're working in the field making more money. When we start to do it all, I'm doing open houses, I'm showing rentals, I got leads coming in, at some point it's unmanageable. And the lead buy game and the lead spend game is its own division within itself. That's the prospecting piece of driving more business, which at some point you'll need that and you'll want that, but you're going to want that so you can cherry pick the deals you want to work and then distribute other deals that they come up with through the dialing and through the leads to your little army of agents as you grow your team. That's creating leverage, and that's when we get to the next level of our career. But right now, in the beginning stages of our career, the most important aspect to understand is I need to make sure that my monetary policy is in check, that I'm watching my finances, that I'm not frivolously blowing money. And so sphere becomes everything, everything. And the demographic of the sphere that you're looking for as well too. I laugh when I see agents that are 25, 26, 27 years old that have never sold $1 million home in their life sitting a $3 million open house. Why? That's not your sphere. That's not your demographic. That's not your real estate demographic. Why are you doing that? Sophisticated buyers understand and know sophisticated real estate agents. I always went to where the transactions were. The transactions was 4, 5, 6s, and 7s in Scottsdale. And they turned and they sold. And so my thing was I wanted to be in front of the masses. I wanted clients more than I wanted a big sale. Big sales come, but it takes time to work your way into luxury. So don't just have this, I'm going to be a luxury agent when you're towards the beginning of your career, because it doesn't happen that way. What you should be looking for are people with similar characteristics as yourself. If you're a younger agent, first-time home buyer market is the way to go. A lot of people, first-time home buyers, youthful. Think about those people. If you're an older agent, thinking about empty nesters, working active adult communities, go to where your demographic is. But what's interesting about sphere that people don't understand, and this is the meat and potatoes of this discussion, is it's easier to get in front of a lot of people that you can sell real estate to by simply doing some research. I cannot tell you how many deals I closed in my career prior to closing of a client, going on and finding other people's sphere of influence is. I'm going to give you an example. I had a client of mine, probably 2013 or 14, and he was a younger guy. He was around 30 years old, and he was a VP at State Farm. State Farm's a massive organization. And I knew that, and I had never done a deal with anybody at State Farm before. And so what I did was, prior to closing, I knew that when he closed, I was gonna take a picture with him and say, congratulations. But I wanted his sphere to see that. So what I did is I went on his Facebook and I liked a bunch of his friends that worked at State Farm. And I mean 40 or 50 of them. And what happened was that when I posted that, somebody replied to him saying, congratulations, we're thinking of selling too. And he said, contact my agent. And with literally seconds of me posting that, I had another client. And then I got another client that day that was a buyer. So what I did is I decided to buy lunch for their department at State Farm. Cost me probably $1,500. I think I sold 70 to 80 employees of State Farm within a 2-year period. So literally, by just thinking out of the box and being smart about being in front of someone else's sphere and somebody that has influence, it can change your whole career. And I'll bet you that of those 80 people, that a lot of my agents have been benefactors of them retransacting in the future, or their friends and family. The byproduct of doing deals is the downstream effect that it leads to. You never know where it leads to. But using your clients that you're working with and understanding, are they a person of influence? How can I impact that influence through their sphere? Going one step further, it can absolutely help you explode. Because if you're working with a VP, if you're working with a director, if you're working with anybody that has what you would say influence over people that they work with, people in the community, people at church, those are the type of people that we want to get in front of their audience. So when we post a closing or something with that person, their audience sees that, responds to it, and some will ask the question, did you have a good experience with that agent because I'm considering selling or buying a home? And they say, absolutely I did. And then it rolls from there. People that work together talk together. And so when you become the guy, you're the guy. I had the same thing with my big lending partner that I have, Rocket Mortgage, which was Quicken at the time. I'll bet you, between myself and my company, we've serviced over 1,000 employees for Rocket Mortgage, 1,000. And it's simply because we're present. And when you get a nice little grouping of people that speak highly of you, and you start bringing lunch in, and you bring a little flyer with that, it just explodes. Your sphere can lead to so much business if you exploit their sphere. So think of out-of-the-box ways to do that. LinkedIn, which wasn't a thing back then, is now a thing. Any professional is on LinkedIn, most are. So before you post a picture of that person celebrating their new home or the sale of their current home, go on to LinkedIn and start friending and liking the people that are at that organization, so when you post that, they see it and say, I've been thinking about doing the same thing. When we just post with a person, other people of their influences aren't seeing that. So what I was quick to figure out was, I don't care if my friends see you sell a home, they see me post that all the time. I want to see your friends seeing that I sold you a home. If you start working on that before you start worrying about leads, you'll get much further. And those referrals that you have, they're 100% layup basically, because you have their person of influence saying to use you. So think out of the box when it comes to sphere, but use your sphere for other people's sphere to get and attract more business.